All right, Facebook. I'm chiming in on what's going on. All this shit going on. I see it happening again with the Michael Brown case before, and now Mr. Sterling's case is starting to get out of hand again. Race is involved and all that. First and foremost, to me, it has nothing to do with race. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not there. I wasn't involved. So, and neither were my kids or anybody that I know. So to say that it's a racial thing, it's not. The cops are white. He's black. Has nothing to do with it. I think, to me, it is a cop versus this man, and that's it. This Black Lives Matter and all that stuff is all good, but to me, at the end of the day, it should be all lives matter. Here's my take on it. Okay, you have Mr. Alton Sterling, which everybody's talking about his record and this and that. First of all, dumbasses, nobody knew who he was when the police got there. It ain't like they said, "Oh, Alton Sterling's there selling CDs. He's got a record. Let's go shoot him." No, it didn't start off like that. He was a suspect at the time. When they got there to make contact, everything went south, and he ends up shot. God rest his soul. You take the facts that everybody says, well, he was this and he was that. Okay, nobody gives a shit about his past. Okay, this is one instant. He's already paid his dues for everything else he did. Obviously, he was a free man selling CDs on the side of a store. So, you got two officers, pretty good size officers. They got the man on his back, and one of them yells, "Gun." 2 seconds later, no video shows the street. He's shot. He's killed. So, I don't know what happens in that little split second where you can't see, but I do know that afterwards, the cop went in his pocket and got the gun and took it out. Which means, one, growing up, everything I've ever seen or heard about police officers was, if there's a threat, then you feel like you have to pull your gun. If it's that extreme, you're to aim center mass, which is your chest, because it's the biggest target, and shoot until the threat is neutralized, which in most cases when you see police shootings, they're shooting a lot of bullets, and until you're stopped, that's when it stops. So with that being said, at what point, though, were these police officers were threatened to the extent of pulling their guns? Just because he has a gun didn't mean shit at the time. Because one, just like I seen a video earlier, they had the man's arms all twisted up and everything, and then they tell him, "Don't move." Well, I mean, you got your neck, your knee in my back, your knee in my head, concrete, my arm's twisted up. It's gonna hurt. How am I not supposed to move? You're hurting me. It's a normal reaction. So for you to twist my arm up and put your knee in my back and say, "Don't move," yeah, go fuck yourself, police. Okay, second to that, even if he was reaching for his gun, you're a trained police officer that is taught patience, calmness, and surely him having a gun didn't make you say, "Oh, well, he's got to die because he has a gun." It was in his pocket. He never at any point took it out of his pocket. So how was he a threat to the police officers just by having it in his pocket? First of all, you're two big police officers. You can't, well, I'm not going to say that because strength is one thing and angles and all that. But I'll say this. You couldn't manage to get him subdued with one hand already held up and the police with his other arm. So shots got fired as he was fighting the police officers. There was no way that man had access to that gun to be a threat to where they should take his life. Anything you've ever seen where, this and that, most of the threats, the guy's pointing a gun at the police or whatever. But in the instances where a police feels the need to shoot somebody because they feel threatened, it has to be worth it. To me, Mr. Alton Sterling's case was not worth it. I don't feel like he should have been shot just because he had a gun. And it's unfortunate, and in the end, it'll come out. But I really think that it's a lack of compassion and a lack of training on police officers' behalf. They react too quick. They react too quick without thinking. And if you see after Alton Sterling shot and the gentleman up in Minnesota, the cops are frantic as hell and cussing and everything afterwards. And even when the woman in Minnesota told him, why did you shoot? I told him to get his hands up. I told him not to go for it. Why are you all upset? Why are you all frantic and everything and freaking out? Why? Because you're lack of training, lack of compassion, and you're out there on the streets running scared. Now, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of police officers that have family, kids, whatever, at home, and that's the first thing that runs to their mind, that when there's a situation involving some type of weapon or anything. But you took the oath to serve and protect as a police officer, and you should have the training and mental knowledge to know at what point it's time to take the threat serious enough to pull your gun and shoot. And to me, neither one of them cases were that. If you're that scared and that worried that it's you or them, then you shouldn't be a police officer. And I'm not saying, we shouldn't care about our lives. No. But at the same time, you're trained to deal with it a certain way. And pulling your gun and shooting without realizing what's going on, I think, to me, honestly, there should be more shootings, because to me, the cops that take that extra second to think it through ends up saving a life versus the ones that just pull the gun and shoot and oh my God, and freak out afterwards. To me, there's got to be some kind of lack of training or something. Because I'm going to tell you, if it was me, and I don't care what anybody says, you can fight it, argue, whatever. If I take the oath to be a police officer, and I've got kids, I've got family, I've got kids that I care about deeply and love with everything I am, but I chose this job to be a police officer. So with that being said, I have to put the feelings on hold when I'm involving somebody else's feelings, somebody else's father, mother, brother, son, whatever, and think about them as well. Yeah, now, I don't want to get shot. I don't want to die. But at the same time, it's part of being a police officer, and I took that job. Now, if I end up taking a bullet because I took the second to see it through, then okay, at the end of the day, if I go to heaven, well, at least I didn't take somebody's life for no reason. At least I didn't at least I hesitated long enough to save a life versus, taking no time and bam, and then feel bad afterwards. These guys are probably going to get in trouble for it because, like I said, there was no immediate threat with the gun in his pocket. The guy in Minnesota was just reaching for his ID, and the guy freaked out and shot him. Okay? All lives matter. In the case of these two gentlemen, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's a messed up situation and it sucks for the good cops that get involved in this, and it's a reputation for cops worldwide. But you took a job to serve and protect. There's going to be violence in certain cases. I just think that you should take that extra second to see it through before you go frantic and start shooting. I have police friends that probably won't agree with me and say, it's them or me. And I get that. It is you, but take into consideration the flip side too. Not everybody wants to kill a cop. Not everybody wants to kill anybody, and it's proof of the two cases yesterday that a couple extra seconds bought and there would be nothing on the news. Two men would be going home to their children, and cops would be still earning their reputation back. I think it sucks for black people, white people, police officers, Asian people. I think it sucks for everybody right now because every situation turns racial, and I hate that. I hate it with a passion because even when I was growing up, I'm not black, but I got bullied by the Caddo sheriffs because of what I drove, because of what I listened to, what type of music I listened to, the attire that I wore, the apparel, whatever. And the area I lived in, it got to the extent, and you can ask, my mother, I went to the Shreveport Police Department to file a report on the Caddo sheriffs for harassing me every day I drive. I'm a gang member, I'm selling drugs and this and that. So they issued me a recorder to keep with me, to record anytime I get pulled over by the Caddo sheriffs, to see if they're harassing me. Sad. Also, here recently, I worked in retail for Family Dollar on the Cooper Road. And anybody knows anything about Shreveport knows about the Cooper Road. I'm a white man in a predominantly black neighborhood, taking over a retail store. I didn't get welcomed with open arms. I got called racist. I got called, white this and that, honky, cracker, all that shit. And nobody, at first would give me a chance. And I'm racist, but I had nothing but black employees. I'm racist because I wouldn't open up another line. I heard it all. But over time, I gained a lot of trust, gained a lot of friends, loyal customers, very awesome people. Now every neighborhood has its bad apples, but that place is full of so many nice people, it's ridiculous. But you always have that, that group of crowd or whatever. My point is, though, is over time, things get better. But things like this, instead of blaming this and blaming that, we, the people, white people, black people, red people, yellow people, whoever, we need to come together for the greater good. We have children growing up in this world. We have everything we do, we're leaving to them to clean up. Every mess we make as adults now, our children have to pay for. And I don't want my kids paying for everything that's going on now, what we're doing. And so hopefully this video doesn't say the wrong things anyway, because I'm not trying to offend any race or any cop or anything like that. I have the utmost respect for the law, but I also have the utmost respect for life. And that seems to be put on the back burner. And I'm just tired of seeing it. To all my black friends and black families and everybody that I've grew up around and come to love and everything, y'all know I love y'all. I support what's right, but I can't sit here and be told I'm living in a white privileged world and this is racist and Black Lives Matter and this and that. All lives matter, from child to elderly man, woman, black, white, whatever color. The color does not matter in this situation. Right now, it's us versus them, and that's the bottom line. So hopefully I get some people that say, you know what, you're right. And people may see the stuff going on Facebook and say that I'm being racist because I'm posting stuff about the stories of Alton Sterling and stuff like that. But it's not that. I'm going off of what the facts say, what I can see with my own eyes, and I'm not saying he was wrong, and I'm not saying the police was wrong. From what it looks like, from what I can see, I'm judging on the facts. And at this point, I just don't see why the man had to lose his life. More to the story will come out, I'm sure, as far as Alton Sterling and the man in Minnesota. But I don't want to see the racism and the pointing fingers at the race and stuff like that. It's big. It's so much bigger than that. We the people have to stand up for ourselves so that there is a future for our kids. And that's it. So I hope everybody don't lynch me and burn my house down. So yeah, take care.